So kia ora, Nisambula Vinaka, Namaste, Assalamu alaikum, Malola Lele, Talofa, Noya, and warm Pacific greetings, even though it is not a warm day here in Auckland, but sending out very warm Pacific greetings to all of you. So welcome to our June webinar. Before I introduce our presenter, just a few housekeeping rules. In true Pacific style, our webinars are quite informal, so we welcome a good talanoa at the end of the presentation. We also have a Facebook page, a Twitter, and a YouTube account, as well as a web page. So I'll post these in the chat so you can join if you haven't joined already. But that is where you can also find the recording of the video of this webinar in case you want to go back and have a look at anything again. There are two ways in which you can engage with the webinar. You can type out your questions. If you're a little bit shy, type it out. I'll read it out at the end, so use the chat box for that. But I'd encourage you to speak up, unmute yourself at the end of the presentation and ask your question. I'm sure Tarisi will be happy to engage with you at the end. But I will request that for the duration of the presentation, if you can keep your mic on mute so everyone can hear what's being said. So welcome. I'd like to welcome our presenter for today, Dr. Tarisi Vunidilo. I'm excited about this presentation. Tarisi's a rising YouTube star, as many of you would have watched her YouTube videos. She's very prominent on Facebook, so you would have come across her work as well. Tarisi has a MSc in anthropology and a postgrad diploma in Maori and Pacific Development from the University of Waikato here in New Zealand. She also has a postgrad diploma in arts majoring in archaeology from the Australian National University and a BA in geography, history and sociology from the Pacific's own University of the South Pacific. She's published 2 books and several articles about Fijian poetry, language and archaeology, and she's currently volunteering as the Secretary General for the Pacific Islands Museum Association and works between her office in Port Vila in Vanuatu and Hilo in Hawaii. How lucky, I'd love to do that. She completed her PhD in Pacific Studies in January of 2016. And she looked at Vakaviti Fijian treasures, cultural rights and repatriation of cultural materials from international museums. And that is so interesting. I've got to say, I need to read more about your work. And she did this at the Centre of Pacific Island Studies at the University of Auckland in New Zealand. She was a professional teaching fellow and lecturer at the University of Auckland from 2012 to 2018 before taking up her role as assistant professor in anthropology at the University of Hawaii in Hilo, where she's been located since 2018. She currently holds a postdoc position with the University of Göttingen in Germany as part of the Sensitive Provinces Human Remains from Colonial Context project. So welcome, Tarisi, and over to you.
Yes, Vinaka Wakalevu, Jalal for the Dr. Jalal for the invitation. Really happy to meet you during our was it the workshop for the Fijian Researchers Network, yes, headed by the Professor Stephen Ratuva. So it's really nice to be included in those network. So aloha nui to all of you. Bula Vinaka, kia ora, as well. So as Dr. Jalal has just mentioned, I'm Tarisi. I'm originally from Fiji. And yeah, so for the Germany project, I'm leaving in a month's time. So the next fall semester will be based in Germany at the University of Göttingen, where I will be based by looking at more than 1,000 human remains that were there collected during the colonial days. And most of them belong to a lot of the islands in the Pacific. They've just repatriated 14 human remains from Germany back to Hawaii. So that's the first repatriation that has happened this year in February. So we hope to continue the rest in the next 4 years. So thank you again. So today, Our Talanoa is on the wonderful topic of online engagement and online teaching. Yeah? So my topic today is on community engagement and teaching, Fijian culture and protocol online, the beauty of technology. Yes, I have decided to take the plunge to be involved in technology. Most people who know me, they always know that I'm not very technologically savvy, but that's not an excuse. Yeah, Amira? That's not an excuse. I think that's a lesson I've learned from my parents, is never to give any excuse on anything. If you cannot do anything, learn it, try it, do it. And that's something that I've learned over the years. And I'm so glad that the COVID-19 pandemic has pushed me out of my comfort zone to actually be part of this online family, because I'm very private in most cases. I usually just do my work on my own. But during the pandemic, I was thinking of the young children in Fiji. That was the reason why I started my Talanoa with Dr. T program. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. So go on my Facebook page, Talanoa with Dr. T, or also go on Instagram, and I'm also on YouTube. Yeah, so you can see, I think I've got it's more than 600 videos. It's already there. And it's just interesting. I'm not a numbers person, my son is, but he always say, oh, mom, this is how many people that are following your page. And I'm like, really? So at the moment, we've got 54,000 followers from different parts of the world. We did some numbers behind the scene, looking at the background there of where they're logging in from. Apparently, a majority are from Fiji, which was actually what my heart wanted anyway. I was actually having this online platform for the Fijians. And then I also thinking of those in the Fijian diaspora. So in terms of, I will share my PowerPoint now. So as Professor Dr. Jalal has mentioned, I will use this as a very much a Talanoa format. So please feel free to type in your questions or comments on the chat function as well. So I will share this short PowerPoint. Okay. So for those who attended our Fijian network, I've added an extra little more to what I shared in that meeting. So here we are. Okay, so hope you can see it from your side. Okay.
Yep, all good.
All right. Okay, so as Dr. Jalal was saying before, I have a couple of students that are joining my online classes. So let's hear our student from Turkey.
Nisambula, bonjour, merhaba. Nayarangu o Jaden Uzaya Halafaki Wavono. Angone ni naudhi wai yale kandavu. Avasu ki Fulanga Lao. Avakai tiko tiko e Izmir, Turkey. Angone vili ne Bosavakaviti ne Dr. T. Vinakavaka levu, merci, tesakur derim, modemanda, au revoir, gule gule.
Okay, so that's Jaden Ravono, one of my young students that I teach online. His father works for the British Army, and they lived in England, Germany, England, and now they're in Turkey. So my online classes that I will be sharing with you today also involves children in other parts of the world. So that's one example, just to share what I've been doing so far in terms of how I'm engaging with our community, and particularly our children, and my passion with language. So just this week, what a good timing, Dr. Jalale. This week, I've just completed my term 2 for all my Fijian classes. Yeah, so Term 1 was really awesome. Term 2 was great as well. So the classes that I offer online, I also include children. So you can see a picture of children here. I do group classes for little ones. And also I do individual classes as well. And not only for children, I also introduced a new workshop this term. And I call it the Maramaniviti workshop and the Turanganiviti workshop. So for those of you who are not familiar with the Vasavakaviti, will know that the word Marama is a Fijian word for ladies or women. And Turanga is a Fijian word for men or gentlemen. Yeah. So they are 6 weeks classes. And what we do in these workshops, it's an hour and a half long. It's done once a week for 6 weeks. And we talk about topics that are related to Fijian cultural protocol. Just to give an example, some of the topics we talk about for the Maramaniviti and the Turanganiviti is their role, our role as women, their role as men in certain ceremonies such as weddings, yeah, funerals, asking for the hand of a young woman, we call it Ndunguvi. Also, Nakau Matiningoni is when they take the children for the very first time to their mother's village. And just general discussion on what they need to know when it comes to cultural protocol. And I have to tell you all today that it has been a wonderful 6 weeks. And I've told the students that it's interesting that I'm facilitating these workshops via Zoom for an hour and a half. I tend to be the one that is more excited and I tend to be the one that is learning so much more. Yeah, it's just amazing. First, I learned so much while preparing for the workshop. And also I learned so much more too with the discussion. So the largest group that I had, which is actually finishing tonight, it's a combination of 12 women from Australia, New Zealand, and Fiji. We've got 2 women logging in from Fiji every week, some from New Zealand and the rest from Australia. And we meet every Wednesday night from 8 p.m. New Zealand time to about 9:30. Yeah, so it's been wonderful. So that's why in this Talanoa session today, I just wanted to kind of acknowledge the importance of sharing, you know, this cultural knowledge and protocol. And not giving any excuse. Yeah, Dr. Jalal is what we were talking about before, right? You know, instead of waiting and say, oh, it's COVID-19, we cannot meet face to face. No, I have 2 more years and I go to Fiji. Hello, we've got technology. Instead of waiting for 2 years for you to go to Fiji to sit with your auntie and your uncle to go through some of these workshops and cultural etiquette sessions, we can take advantage of this online platform. So I'm really, really excited about this. So the Maramaniviti workshop is ending today and the Turanganiviti workshop is finishing in another 2 weeks' time. So this is a new edition from my previous presentation I did with the Fijian group, but this is very, very exciting in which we are going beyond the language. Yeah, so the Vakumbula that was done by Jaden Ravono in Turkey. That's a very introductory level of the Vasavakaviti that our children learn. So they're learning together as a group. And it's really, really encouraging because before the class and after the class, these kids and their parents, they all talk with each other. So they're given homework and the students, I pair them up together. I said, okay, you two, this is your topic. You do your research. Call your uncle, call your auntie. And something interesting that has been happening too is that a lot of these young ones are contacting their relatives in Fiji, especially those who are overseas, those who are not in Fiji. And they're bothering their relatives in Fiji. They're like, what's going on? People are asking about their tribe, right? Their Wusa. They're asking about their clan, their Matangali. They're asking about their Toka, yeah, their family unit. What's going on? They're asking about their totems. So they always say, oh, Dr. T is asking us to find out. So that is also, you know, parts and parcels of engagement, family engagement on another level. So one is community engagement, but another level is actually a family, where Jaden can contact his uncle in Fiji and ask, oh, Talevu, what's my bird? Yeah, Talevu, what's my fish? Talevu, what's my tree? Yeah, what's my tribal title? Because all of these things are parts and parcels of who we are as a Fijian or as a Toke back in Fiji. And it's also interesting, if I can share a quick update about what I've been doing online, is that in the last term, I had a Fiji Indian student born in, I think she was born in Vancouver, who has joined my class. I was just so happy that she joined me from Surrey in Canada, and asked her, why did you want to learn the Fijian language and the Fijian culture? And she's married to a African-American gentleman, and now they have a son. And the son asked the mother, Mom, where am I from? And so when the son asked her and she said that she's from Fiji, she was like, man, I have to learn something about Fiji. So when my son grows up, I can share a little bit of that culture to him. So what a wonderful example, yeah? So it's not only just Fiji Itoke people, it's also our brothers and sisters of Indian descent. And also we have some part Europeans also joining our classes as well. And we also have women who are not Fijians, but married to Fijians. Yeah, so I have a couple in Ireland, one joining in from Germany, another one joining in from New York and Maryland. So yeah, it's just really, really exciting to see that a lot of these individuals who are part of this journey are so interested, to learn more for themselves, but also the transmission of this knowledge to the younger generation. So that's just something that I want to say, yeah, about why I'm doing this. Another addition that I've added into this Talano program that I do is I do a Sunday storytelling session. And this is all done in the Toke language. I start with storytelling is only like half an hour to 45 minutes for children every Sunday at 5 p.m. It's all done on Zoom, and the parents log in for the children, and then they listen in. So we go for every district. So last year, from January to February, for those of you who may not know, Fiji is divided into 14 provinces. So we sat down as a family and we said, how can we deliver this program in a more organized way? So rather than very ad hoc, we have to do it in such a very professional way, and people will know, yep, Dr. T is going to show up on this day, right? And we did it for 14 months straight. Yeah. And for those of you who may be wondering, it's done free. Yeah, there's no fee. I just do my research and I sit there for about an hour and do the Talano session. And I think I have to acknowledge Alisi Bacalao, who's also in the audience. Alisi was one of my guests. So what I do is I invite people from these provinces to come and Talano, yeah, and share about their journey. What are the struggles? What are their aspirations? What are some of the achievements, so that I can use my platform to empower, yeah, other people. So vinakavakalewa Alisi meu sambulare, vinakavalevu na maybe say too, yeah, and a program. And I think I can also see Dr. Ite Kemok, yeah. So Randila Ite, her children were in my class as well. So Ite and Alice, it'll be lovely to hear your feedback at the end of my presentation, just so we can just share with our audience the impact of what you have done and contributed to this program. Yeah, so that's a quick update on what I've done so far. So this picture here, my son created these posters, is to kind of showcase that not only Fijians learn the language and the culture, but also those who are non-Fijians. Yeah, even I have another student from Germany who is going to come to Fiji in September to do her master's research. So she wants to come in and learn the little bit of the culture, a little bit of the language to get her ready before she comes to Fiji. She's been having a wonderful time learning about Fiji. So she's excited to be there. So this poster is meant for that, so that people can see it and they say, oh, that woman looks like me. So maybe I should contact Dr. T. And actually that actually happened. Some people saw the poster and realized, oh, I can join in as well. Yeah. So again, in terms of why I started this Talanoa program was going back to COVID-19. Yeah, in April 2020, I had a phone call from a Fijian friend in Fiji who told me that the son was watching the Fiji One news, and everyone was talking about this virus going on and people are dying around the world and it's coming to Fiji. And he was very nervous. His young boy is from Kandahu, his name is Manoa, and the mother is Merendani. So Merendani messaged me and said, Neta, Tarisi, we're watching this news about this COVID-19. Can you just translate it for me? Because Manoa wants to know about this virus, but I don't even know. It's all in English. So the idea came out of that. So you can see on this, if you go on my YouTube channel, you'll notice that my first 5 videos was just translation of this COVID-19 virus. Yeah, and it was targeted for children. So I was just really explaining, the importance of, quarantine, importance of being healthy, eating nutritious food, and all those kind of things. So yeah, and I must say that that's how this program started, and then it just expanded to what it is now. Yeah, so now we're going on to the 3rd year of doing this program. So again, with my the purpose of why I do this. Yeah, some people might be thinking, why are you doing this? And you're doing it for free, it is your time and all of that. So to me, I believe that this is my time and space, for me to create this as part of this transmission process of bridging the gap. Yeah, sharing from one generation, the training that I've had, especially in the field of archaeology, and the training that I've had with meeting with our elders in the community. Maybe it's time that we should share some of this information with our younger generation, and not keeping it in a vault and locked, and no one knows what's in the vault, but in this opportunity to actually share for parents so that they know, what is their, the matangali, what is their evusa, what are their totems, because all of these things are so critical for us as Itoke people. So to me, with this COVID-19 and my, looking at the impact of the language, and most people didn't understand what COVID-19 was, I then realized the power of language. Okay, if we are delivering our message in a language that our audience had no idea what we are saying and what it means, and we're wasting our time. So I was just trying to think of what can be a way that, for me as a person, as an individual, what can I do, to contribute to this discussion? How can we, rather than just sitting on the side of the fence or side of the village and talking about the problem, what can I do to come to the middle of the village green, the rara, and talk with other people and say, what can we all do, yeah, to make these young people understand what COVID-19 is all about? And when it comes to culture and heritage, what can we do to get our youths more engaged, right, rather than being disengaged? How can we get our youths to be excited about their culture once again? What can we do to make our youths be proud of their dialects, and not to apologize? That's a word that I always try to tell people, because a lot of people have asked me, why do you speak Fijian on this program? And I say, because it is my language. If you don't know what I'm saying, find somebody to translate. If you still don't know what I'm saying, come to my class. Join my class, and so you can understand what I'm saying. So in a way, my Talanoa with Dr. T program is an opportunity to showcase this beautiful language. It's so beautiful, and we shouldn't be ashamed of it. That's really what I really want, especially our young people, our youths, and that's why I have this graph here. So that's kind of like how I want Talanoa with Dr. T to be the bridge with our knowledge holders. So the knowledge that I'm sharing is not mine. Yeah, that's really what I wanted to reiterate here. It's not mine. It's shared knowledge. It's knowledge that belongs to us as a people. And I think in this day and age with the presence of technology, let's use it. Let's use it in a very positive way. Yeah, use it as part of education. So these are the 3 I's that I wanted to reiterate with the way I do things online. Is I want to inspire our young people. And also I want to remind them about the importance of their identity. They may be born in Denmark. They may be born in Canada. They may be born in Greenland, but they're still Fijian. No one will take that away from them. And then when it comes to indigenous knowledge, how can we showcase to them? How can we tell them? How do you lay the mats? How do you differentiate this tapa that is made in the island of Lau in Mode? How can you differentiate the tapa from Lau in Mode and the tapa from Vatule? Okay. How can we differentiate the mat made in Bua with the yimbe that is made in Yasawa? Yeah, because all of these are indigenous knowledge that has to be shared, right? And so I just hope that the program that I'm doing will be there to inspire people, especially our young ones. The other ones that I wanted to share as well is 3 A's. One is to provide access. Because one thing a lot of parents ask me is that, oh, my son and my daughter, they're doing this research about this tree or about this fish and about this tribe, but we don't know where to go. So what I try to do with my online program is to bring this information closer to them. Yeah, I may not be the source of information, but I can invite someone from the National Archives. I have invited one of the archivists from the National Archives. I've also invited the director of the Fiji Museum. Yeah, and I've also invited our friends from the University of the South Pacific. So in a way, this program is kind of like a way to access, for people to access information. So it's easy for them. Yeah, and of course it's all in English, but with my program delivered in the Fijian language, it's easy for them. So I just speak to them in Fijian. Yeah, so they're kind of like, oh, I get it now. So again, it comes back to language. The other one is a feeling of acceptance. A lot of students that I teach online, sometimes they say that they feel really isolated, or they feel like they don't belong to where they're supposed to belong. You know, they feel so isolated. They feel like, oh, I don't feel very Fijian because I was born in America. Or I don't feel Fijian because I was born in Norway. You know, so these classes is a way to tell them, no, you shouldn't feel that way. You may be born outside of Fiji, but you're still Fijian. Yeah, and it's just kind of like reminding them and making them feel accepted. You know, so I hope with Alice Vakalala and Dr. Randilete can share a little bit of their experience as well. The third A is on association. So my language classes and the workshops that I've just talked about before, it was also a space for people to talk with each other. So last night, as we concluded one of the language classes that I'm teaching, one of them said, wow, I didn't realize that I've acquired 8 more sisters, right? Which was so beautiful, right? So instead of feeling isolated in your own room in Auckland, especially now it's very cold, right? It can be very, sitting in very remotely and, you know, you're very isolated and lonely. Every Tuesday, we come together and we meet and we talanoa and share about Fiji. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, so now I just told the students, now you've concluded your 6 weeks lessons. Now you've got 8 other people you can talk to during the week. If you feel lonely, you can just email any of them, you can Zoom them and share some of the research that you have done. Yeah, so I think that's basically a few things that I've wanted to share, Dr. Jalal, but maybe I will end on this slide, if that's okay. Yeah, because I want to leave enough time for us to have more talanoa. Is that okay, Dr. Jalal?
That's perfectly fine, Tarisi. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. All right. So these are just a few pointers I just wanted to share here. Benefits of digital teaching and learning. As I was saying before, I want to use the Wasavakaviti here. Veungeti. Yeah. So it's really, really inspirational on both sides. Yeah, I'm inspired by their stories as well. Yeah, a lot of the students that I talk to, they are of mixed heritage. Yeah, I also have a student who's from Lebanon, and her mother is from Malta, but she was teaching on the island of Yanuya in the Malolo Islands. And she comes to our class with so much stories from Yanuya, in which she inspires other students who have never been to Fiji. Isn't that amazing? Another student inspiring another. The other one is our identity, our Wakatakilikila. What identifies you as a child from Rewa? What makes you different and unique as a woman of Mbua? What makes you different from somebody from Kandavo? You know, it's these kind of things that are there, but my program is just there to kind of like remind people, hey, look at that tree over there. Yeah, that's somebody's tree. You know, that's their identity. That's their totem. So in our class, we talk about that. Vokuni Vanua, the indigenous knowledge. So I personally believe that, you know, this indigenous knowledge that has been passed on to us should not belong to one person. It should not belong to an institution. It belongs to us. So for me as an educator, I believe that this indigenous knowledge should be shared, especially with our young ones, so that they're well equipped as they get older, as they become a young man, as they become a young woman, they will be confident, right? They know who they are. And that's something I see in the faces of my students every week, you know, and I notice the confidence in the way they speak when they introduce themselves in Fijian. I remember the first day in the class, oh man, you know, they can't even say the vowels. They can't say the alphabets. So week in, week out, man, they are just blooming into this amazing looking butterfly, yeah, in which they just kind of blossoming and enjoying this journey of learning. And then another thing too that I do, for those of you who may not know, I also sing and I also dance. I may not sing like professionally like Lisa Volokoro or Netli Raikondroka, but I know I have a voice and I know I can sing. And so if you go on my YouTube channel, you'll notice that I've included there some nursery rhymes and children's songs in which children can sing the songs and nursery rhymes that they can learn the language. Yes, it's a very introductory level, and then we learn the Meke, the Rani Utom Butatoka, yeah, Rani Utom Butatoka, Rani Utom Butatoka, Lutuira, Saringom. So the children, when they're learning the Meke and they're learning the actions, they will know that the actions has connections with the words. So whatever they're singing is actually what the action is all about. And that's all to do with our Fijian Meke. That's storytelling. Yeah, that's storytelling with body movements. And so in my classes as well, we also do that. We sing and we dance. So those are just, you know, a few examples of what I do in my classes. I always look forward to my classes every week. Sometimes, you know, my husband laughs at me. My two children, my daughter is 23 and my son is 21. Sometimes they kind of embarrassed about me when I'm singing the nursery rhymes, but I don't care. As long as the kids that I'm singing to, they're enjoying it, that's all that matters. And you can see the map here. Another thing that I try to do is I show the children the map of Fiji. A lot of times they say, I'm from Fiji, but they have no idea which part of Fiji they're from. So we do a lot of mapping. I show them some pictures like this. And we talk about birds, we talk about fish and all the natural things of Fiji. So next time they go to Fiji, they're excited, right? Because they know that not just the culture, but also the nature. Yeah, so they can tell their friends. I know how to say the Fijian word for dolphins. Yeah, I know how many turtles when they come to Fiji. Yeah, I know how many whales that come to Fiji. So we learn a lot of that too in my class. So I make it really, really fun. And these are some of the visual aids that my daughter created. So after every term, each student will have to graduate from pink, orange to green. Yeah, and all of this is part of their homework. They have to ask their parents or their grandparents what this means. And they're all written in Fijian, by the way. And here, some videos which you can see on my YouTube channel. I know we are, don't want to take too much of your time because I want us to have some Talanoa session at the end. But I'll quickly go through some pictures there, Dr. Jalal, if that's okay. This is the map of Fiji. and the mbilimbili. So what I try to do as well is I bring in my museum background. See, this is something that I see in the museum, but how many children know this? Yeah, so we try and look, okay, let's learn about bamboos. So a lot of kids today, they know we do bamboo rafts. But then in the class, I show them, did you know that this is their pillow? Yeah, their neck rest or their headrest made of bamboo. And then we learn the different types of how they utilize the bamboos. Yeah, we also have these bamboo stencils for making tapa. And we also, learn a little bit more about how they were made, what they're used for. And then I connect them with the Fiji Museum. So next time they go to Fiji, they can see a real bamboo raft inside their very own museum. Yeah, so it's really kind of like making this connection. So they live in Sydney, they live in Turkey, they live in England. When they come to Fiji, they can visit the museum. And then I also include idioms. Yeah, idioms that are associated with bamboos, I also include that too. And then recently, last year, I included Fijian riddles. A lot of times people were emailing me last year and they said, man, I've never heard that riddle before. I said, we have riddles. So let's do some riddles. So I did a competition online and it was really awesome. We had 3 winners and we sent them some gifts for them to enjoy as part of them participating in in my class. So to end my presentation today, which I did last year as well in my previous presentation, we're going to end with 3 sisters dancing for us who were also in my Fijian class. Enjoy. Province in Fiji. Nakavaka level for listening. That's all I wanted to share with you all.